Hello there, Pisces, and welcome to your July forecast. It's really great to see everyone again. This month especially because what I'm doing for each and every sign is focusing on a breakthrough moment. And that really is a chance for you to either overcome some sort of an obstacle or embrace an opportunity that's coming through for your sign over the course of July. I'd like to remind everyone that you can always use this reading for your sun, your rising, and also for your moon sign. And if you'd like to watch on behalf of someone that you care about, you can also do that. Don't worry if you don't happen to know your sun, rising, and moon. Just stick with the sign that you were born under, and you'll get more than enough information by doing that. Also, I would like to welcome back everybody that is a return viewer. You're the reason I show up here every month. I appreciate the work that you're doing on yourself and also the support that you've given to me. It's all possible because of you. For anyone that's brand new, let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and this is how I organize the readings from month to month. I like to start off with some channeled information, which is just me using my raw intuition. After that, I like to use the Celtic Cross, where I take a nice deep dive and let whatever needs to come through. Usually I see blessings and blocks, highs and lows, all of the stuff that you're going to need to successfully navigate through the next month. After that, I expand the forecast to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. So if you enjoy what you see here, realize that it's all supported by fans like you, so stick around until the end. At that point, I'll give everyone a little bit of information on how to give back, ranging from not just liking and subscribing or following me, but perhaps booking an appointment or giving a contribution. Again, all of that will come much later. Right now, I want to focus on the channeled information for the month of July. This month, as I meditated over your cards, the image that I got was a phoenix rising from the ashes. And in my automatic writing, I wrote down, "Spread your wings and shine." If there's been any moments in your life where you felt like it's just been really difficult, or you feel like, when is it going to get a little bit easier? What I feel like this month is going to allow you to do is to really step into your power, step into your light, and start to create something brand new. I was talking in a few signs, I think the last one was Aquarius that I was discussing this, but this is sort of a reset month for many of you, and I don't really feel your energy being tethered. If anything, as I was getting into the energy of your sign, it felt either easy or unburdened. That's the best way that I can describe it. So if you can start off each day with the thought that I can handle today, it's going to be manageable, it's going to be great. In fact, you're going to put the energy in the right place, and I want you to feel that whatever comes your way, you're going to either be able to push right through it or rise above it. Spreading your wings, the phoenix rising from the ashes, this is also telling me that you no longer have to get involved in any sort of personal fights or difficulty or gossip or anything like that. You are now looking at stuff from a bird's eye view, and you can really focus on your power, your message, your voice. And because I see that bird, I'm also seeing leadership, oversight, and power. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and transition into the Celtic Cross. I'll remain quiet while I'm pulling every card, but afterwards I'm gonna talk about each and every one and how it relates to you and the month ahead. In your catalyst position, we have the octopus, something that I would equate quite easily with multitasking because it reminds me of the Eight of Wands, something where you see a lot going on in your life, but you have the ability to juggle it, to manage it. So this shows me from a pure skills perspective and even the ability to sort of look out at everything. You've got it together. And it's also supported by the crowning card, which is the World. So this month, you have the capability of really taking things to a bigger level. And I mentioned again in your channeled message that I saw you spreading your wings. So whether it's wings or many, many arms here, I feel like you are going to be challenged to somehow spread a message, spread your time, spread your energy. And for some of you, this can mean distribution, broadcasting. It could also mean that there's a lot of visibility coming into your life this month. Overall, I think you can manage it, but what I'm seeing for you is that there may be something either from an energy, resource, or health perspective that could be tapping you out. So we'll talk about that as we get into the spread. But when it comes to mental acuity and ability, you've got what it takes this month. This is one of the most intelligent sea creatures. If you've ever looked at videos of how an octopus can escape from a tank, or they even can survive on land for a while. They're very intelligent creatures. So if there are any sort of limits in resources or in the support around you, the octopus says adapt, surprise people, and survive. You're going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. And that also coincides with the Phoenix message, which is if something doesn't go the way you want, just try again, and you're going to get better with each time. You're not going to get knocked down. You're not going to get pushed back, and you'll probably surprise people in the long run. And I think that's part of the big idea and the breakthrough for you this month is that there are really no limits that you can't work past, particularly with the resources, and I think there are ways around that. So we'll now get into the spread, and I can talk a little bit more about what I'm seeing. First and foremost, you need to have a seat at the table when decisions are being made this month, even if that means that you're going to have to push a little bit to make it happen. The Nine of Wands, which is actually sort of illustrated almost like the Seven of Wands here, means that you can take anything that's coming your way, and as illustrated here, there may even be a little bit of a need for you to be very prepared and take the offensive, not just the defensive. It's also important for you to have visibility into finances and smaller paperwork items this month. I don't want you to get encumbered by all of the little details, but when I'm looking at some of the money and some of the people and the resources this month, I have questions about how things are being spent. So if you aren't the one that is signing the checkbook, this month I want you to take a little bit more, literally, accountability when it comes to your accounting. And don't be afraid to ask for things, to highlight where there are either deficits or opportunities for better spending or for saving and investment. This will really help you in the long run. As we look at the deep past, the first thing that I see is that you're very invested in not just your own success, but I think the energy of this month. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Whenever I have an ace card, it typically denotes good possibilities, something on the horizon. The fact that this ace was in the past and that it's reversed means that there was a missed opportunity, but this month you get a second chance. And because the World card is in the crowning position, it means you get to capitalize on it. It's going to work this time around. So first things first, don't give up on something that you cared about. There is a new audience that's willing to take it in and receive it this month. And the main thing for you is that you have to continue to be passionate about it, that you have to continue to take ownership of it, and most importantly, you're going to have to fight for something like that. When it comes to health, this means that many of you are going to have to put a little bit more time and energy into taking care of your body, particularly nutrition. When I look at Pentacles, it has more to do with diet, and this can mean either too much or too little protein sometimes when I see this card. So you want to work with a professional if you're feeling like there's any sort of nutrition issues. Otherwise, just really watch your diet. This is going to directly affect your energy, and there are a lot of cards here showing that there may be a little bit of exhaustion or that there may be room for balance when it comes to that. As we look at recent past, and this is really a note that's going to carry into even the first week of this month, we see the Page of Wands. I'm going to bring the card a little closer so you can see the illustration. Notice how we have the three birds up there and this person sort of listening. To me, this denotes that there's going to be good word of mouth, good buzz, good feedback coming in for you, and also you might be able to deliver good news to someone else. Plus, if you have anything that you're trying to take and bring to the next level, whether it's a brainstorming idea or whether you're just interested in connecting with somebody, this is showing mutual interest, a lot of possibilities, and people that want to hear more. You may need to develop the idea because it's only at the page, it's not at the king or the queen, but when I look at this, this reminds me of almost a Three of Cups in another spread where there's three birds on a branch. So I feel like there's a lot of really positive momentum, and you want to keep that steady and growing throughout this month. Since it's a fire card, wands being fire, you can kindle that and you can continue to put energy into developing the idea, developing the buzz, and also getting people more and more excited as the month goes on. For some of you, there's going to be an opportunity to make a sale or to buy something as well. This could be a change of job, a change of living situation. It could also mean just travel, or like I said earlier, expansion and publication. I love that it's in the crowning position. This tells me that no matter what we see with the limit cards here, because all of your pentacles are reversed, that they can be overcome. And I'm going to try to help you figure out how to flip each of these resource cards around, starting with the Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Pentacles in reverse in the near future means that if you're working with anybody, a key sort of coworker, a boss, or if it's a family situation and you have to go through like a patriarch or a matriarch, this means that they are interested in what are you doing for them. It's basically about making sure that the other side knows that not only do you have something that's really going to be mutually beneficial, but you're looking out for them. So start the conversation off empathetically, especially if there's a negotiation or a difficult sort of conversation that you have to have, maybe even it's criticism for somebody. You always want to start off with saying, first of all, I appreciate the hard work that you're doing. I know that this hasn't been easy, and I think we have the same common interest, which is this. I have a couple of thoughts here, but first I want to know that no matter what happens, I know what you need, and I'm going to make sure that that is taken care of. You need to basically let them know that they are A-okay. There's a little bit of self-interest here with this card. So when you're working with others, they're asking you mentally, what's in it for me? Now, as an aspect of your own personality, there may be opportunities this month for you to do some sort of self-investment. That could be going to school. This could be just taking care of your health, as I said earlier, or maybe just doing something for fun. I don't see a lot of enjoyment this month when it comes to just sort of activities. So inject something playful, something irreverent, something cool into this mix so that you're not solely focused on academics, on money, on work. There has to be some fun involved in this as well. And by the way, that's another technique that you can use to help get a decision or a signature sort of finalized, is instead of doing it all within a sort of work environment, you could go off site, you could meet someone, out for drinks, something like that. So keeping it professional, but still kind of putting a little bit of fun and a little less pressure on the situation. As we look at your ego this month, what I'm also seeing for some of you is that there is a love connection that's happening because we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles. It looks like for many of you, since the page is you and the page is about receiving, that you may be on the receiving end of somebody that is interested in you or wants something from you. And what you have to sort out this month is, are they simply interested in seeing me, or is there an ulterior motive? Are they kind of attracted to the group of friends that I'm with? Do they like how much money I'm making? Is there something else that they need or want from me? Because with the two of these cards both being very earth-based and also being reversed, it means that both parties need to be happy. So do a little bit of meditation and take a pause. Don't go into a relationship too quickly this month. For existing marriages and partnerships, a lot of what I've said still holds true, which means that both partners seem to be very focused on their individual goals. So I think what would be helpful for the two of you this month is to try to do something that helps you find a common ground. For a relationship, you could go back to what it was that you both found attractive about each other, common interests that you both enjoy, especially if it's not connected to the two things that the two of you seem to be wanting. Just get back to celebrating the sort of collective energy of having fun, being together, and that's going to naturally bring about good conversations, healing opportunities, and then you can express your wants, needs, and desires as appropriate. As we look at your environment card this month, we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. So this is an evolution of the octopus card here, which I said earlier reminded me of the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands means that there's a ton of things going on. The Seven of Wands is actually showing that you're a little bit strained. You can still multitask and do amazing things, but you would be better if you were able to just say, hey, do you mind helping me with this? Or I have a question about this. Or could we outsource this? And when we're looking at one-on-one communications between lovers, between friends, this is an encouragement for you to not take anything personally. And if there's something you can do for someone, just out of generosity and empathy, you could also, if you have the time and energy, just say, hey, I know you've been working really hard this week. How about I do the dishes tonight? How about we go and see a movie, my treat? We haven't done this in a while and I just miss spending time with you. Take the weight off the situation, because the Seven of Wands is showing you that it can be easier than it is right now. But it's going to probably involve a little bit of a movement on your part, because with both partners waiting for somebody, you're going to have to probably show that olive branch and say, hey, we can do this. I'm interested. I still care. Let's show up for each other. And it will be reciprocated from what I can see here. Many of you are looking for some time off. When I'm looking at hopes, fears, and desires, we have the Hermit card. It's reversed, which is speaking to the fact that you don't want to go sort of off the grid this month. I think it would be good to take a day or two, or maybe even half a week, and recover if that's something that you need, because I see that some of you might be running on empty or might be recovering from a period of exhaustion. But once you've done that, there's still a lot that needs to be happening with your time, your energy, and your attention this month. So take the time off that you need, and then you're going to have to come out of your shell a little bit. The Hermit card is good for esoteric, spiritual, and religious work as well. So if you've decided that that's something that you want to pursue, this is falling around week 3 or 4 of the month. So I think this would be a natural time for you to invest a little bit more in that, and it looks really good for what it's worth. Because the Hermit's touching a lot of cards around it that are showing people and relationships, you again are going to have to be the one that probably initiates conversations. Otherwise, you may do a lot of waiting this month. So when it comes to business interactions, love interactions, friendships, don't be afraid to go the extra mile. It's not something you have to do or want to do all the time, but this month I see sort of the onus being on you. If you want to keep these relationships going, remember, you're like this octopus. You can manage this, you can manage that, you can reach out to this person. You don't have to do everything. All you're kind of doing is tapping here, 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 keeping things going, keeping the fire alive that we saw here, again, with the Page of Wands, the Nine of Wands, the Seven of Wands. So much fire, that means that you're going to have to continue to feed the fire in order for things to progress. Now let's look at your outcome card, because I do want to talk a little bit about this one. It is the Five of Pentacles. It is reversed. Let's pull it upright so you can see the illustration. A lot of times this simply has to do with the feeling that one party or the other side is feeling left out, abandoned, or not appreciated. So the key to bringing this in the upright position as we see it here is simply to say something like, if you had a miscommunication in the past, you can just come to the person and say, I'm sorry. If there's something that you're healing from your childhood, a lot of times this can be between parents and children. If you don't have the sort of connection that you want with your parents, you could try to heal that, or you could just think to yourself, I did the best I could, and I'm not going to blame my parent anymore. I'm going to focus more on what I can do in my life, and I'm going to be okay no matter what. You start to become the sort of mother and father for yourself. But there needs to be an acknowledgement or a healing, or in some cases, an apology, in order to heal those wounds from the past, or those feelings of you don't appreciate me, you don't notice me, or I'm not getting what I'm worth. And before we go into the expanded forecast, I have one more thing I want to say about this, which is if you're at a company where you're not getting paid enough, or if you're running a business and you're constantly going in the red and not making profit, the Five of Pentacles says that it's time for a discussion about rate and compensation. This shows that they're not really valuing your experience. And when I look at the Nine of Wands, you have exactly what it takes when it comes to qualifications. And if you're not charging enough, the same is true. So do what you can this month to try to bring everything into balance and really earn what you deserve, okay? Let's now take a look at your health card. This is including mind, body, and spirit. All right, this is a really wordy card and it's in reverse, but it says, you are profoundly clairvoyant, and everything below that is basically saying to trust your third eye. So I'm going to save you from having to read all of that. What I think is important for you this month to do, and that really came through around weeks 3 and 4, was to spend some time basically tuning in. And you can also do this as a daily practice. I know you're busy, but maybe taking 5 minutes at the beginning or the end of the day to just sort of do a scan of your mind, your thoughts, your body, and see what comes through. Just like when I'm doing my readings, I take time at the beginning to meditate just so that I can either feel something, see something, or know something. That's really going to help you sort out who you can trust, what you should be focusing on, how you can do some of the problem solving in these relationships this month. So don't second guess yourself. Trust your intuition. It's there and it needs to be developed this month, really for your happiness, your health, and your success. This is touching all areas, even though it came through in health. But for me, health is mind, body, spirit, and this is a spirit message. One other note for health this month, whenever I see the 5 of Pentacles, this can show issues with lower extremities, like your knees, your ankles, your feet. For some of you, it could show that if you've had a sprained ankle before or a broken bone, that there could be some pain or even a little bit of a susceptibility in that area. Be careful when you're walking. This can also indicate that you might trip or stumble. So that's one area that you want to pay attention to if you have susceptibility. And again, when you're just out walking, make sure that you're not paying too much attention to devices, because something like that could lead to an unnecessary accident. Let's move along now to wealth and see what's coming through for money and resources this month. The card reads, what you want wants you, which is a nice way of saying self-confidence is going to be your best friend and self-doubt is going to hold you back. I forgot to mention that the 5 of Pentacles can simply be a feeling that, well, I kind of hit on it with compensation, but sometimes it feels like I'm not worth this. And if you believe you're not worth it, other people will follow suit and think, well, if you don't think you are, then I don't either. So I want you to hold yourself in a higher sort of esteem this month and think, you know what, I've worked really hard to get where I'm at. I have a lot to offer. And as you do that, people are going to respect and change their point of view. For those of you that are going and talking to a boss or a supervisor about getting more money, you have to back it up and really be ready to have that conversation. And the attitude that you're bringing into this is, I love working at this place, I love working with all of you, but you're just as lucky to have me as I am to have you. And you need to start to work with me so that I have a path for advancement, because I'm doing everything I can to support you. So this has to be more reciprocal. That's kind of how you would have that conversation. You have to show strength, you have to bring it into perspective, and you remind them, I've really been scratching your back, scratch mine a little bit. And this is showing the inequity, because this is a queen and this is a page. So there's a big difference. It's not even a queen and a knight. So I do feel like some of you have a lot of catching up to do. Sorry, we have an airplane above. The last thing that I want to mention about this is it really is speaking to the power of manifestation. So this would give way eventually to the Magician card, where you start to see, or the Two of Wands, you start to see yourself in a situation, and because of your persistent dream, thought, or ambition, things start to open up in your life to allow it to happen. You have to truly desire and want it, and then do some of the required work, and then things will start to move in the universe around you. The only way that sort of change happens, though, is that you have to be persistent and keep showing up and keep believing in it. So what you can plant this month is the seed that it can happen and I want it. And then you'll start to figure out what kind of things you have to do to set it up. This is basically the next big thing that you'll be focusing on outside of whatever's wrapping up or broadcasting or distributing this month, because there is something ending. This is your new beginning. So I want you to always be one step ahead, like the octopus. You don't have to finish everything this month, but you need to get some of these other things started so that later, when it's time to pick up the slack, you'll already have a little bit of that work done. All right, let's move along now to love and see what's going on with relationships in your life. So we have a card that basically cuts both ways. It's hard to read this word, but it says support underneath it. And I mentioned earlier that in order to really make relationships work to the maximum this month, there would have to be a mutually beneficial agreement that both of you have to support each other. Basically, that it becomes reciprocal. And again, I would say there's a little bit of work that the other party needs to do, because you're showing up as really having a lot more to give and not as much to receive. So this month, part of what is necessary is not to only be the support person for others, but to speak up, which we see here with the Nine of Wands card here. Not to get defensive though. She's a little too defensive in this spread. It would be mostly just being bold and saying, I appreciate it when you do this, and I really need some more help here. That's not being demanding. That's just letting someone know what your needs are. And that's open communication in a relationship. And I feel like some of you have just been, because there's so much going on, you're pulled in a lot of directions. So when partnerships are entering into the picture, it has to be very fluid. It has to be very even. And if it's not, then that's the first place that you can work on healing. And both sides need to acknowledge one another's hopes, fears, angers, and happiness, all of that stuff. It has to be something that there's just transparency and openness. I think if you do that, you're going to be okay. Don't be afraid to ask for help. I'm looking at love, but it also is about partnerships and relationships. So when we're looking at business and the environment, we have the Seven of Wands, which is sometimes a lone wolf that could basically be less of a perfectionist and let other people make mistakes, but also help. So if there's something that's non-essential, that you don't need to have every little thing perfect, then it's a good thing to let go of, because it's not a good use of your time. So share the load, share the wealth, and as a result, allow your health to improve in the process. All right, let's move along now to your Destiny card. This functions as a GPS, and it gives you a chance to figure out if you're happy with the path that you're on, or if there's any course corrections that you need to make. All right, you probably noticed I pulled two cards. That's because whenever I get a straight yes/no card, I want to get a little clarification. But first, let's talk about the power of the word here, no. I think that this is coming through for you because part of the message is simply to say that you can't or won't or don't want to do certain things. No is powerful, and if somebody is not willing to pay you what they should, if they are asking for way too much with respect to your time or your energy, if they're trying to pick a fight with you, or if there's anything that puts you on the defensive, this month is a chance for you to simply say, no, I don't need to get involved with this. And the World card can show that for some of you, this might be a time where you're deciding to walk away, try something new, go for something that's more positive. You want to walk away from that. And what I do see for some of you as I look at what this could result in is a change of environment, a change of work, a change of living environment. So know that with that no, it might mean that you have to walk away. So that's something to consider. But I see that as an eventual course of action anyway, since your outcome was Five of Pentacles. Either you get more respect and more equity in whatever you're doing, or it's time to move on. The question is, when do you want to? So let's go ahead now and review everything that we talked about, and then we will wrap up with the closing word. Your channeled message this month was to spread your wings and shine. It's interesting now to hear that message, because part of what's happening here when I looked at the outcome is some people aren't letting you shine, or they're not acknowledging your power, your love, and your strength. Again, going to the breakthrough this month, I think that for some of you that means that it's time for an end, and for looking for something that's better. Even if where you're at feels safe, which is what we see with the Home card, it's actually not what it appears to be, and that's why we saw the no. And literally, if you read it, it's like, no, this is not your home. This is not the place to be in the long run. So I see a shift coming because of that. When we looked at the catalyst, there's this great ability for you this month to manage any and everything that comes your way. This can be the best thing, and it can also be something that you're going to have to keep an eye on, because you don't want to extend yourself to the point that you get sick or tired. But by and large, I think the octopus shows you that you're intelligent, you're adept, you're going to be able to handle all the ups, downs, and curves that this month is throwing your way. I mentioned earlier that you really need to have an eye on everything this month. I don't necessarily want you to get pulled into minutia. I do want you, however, to keep an eye on budget and big decisions. You should have a vote and a place at the table wherever those decisions are being made. And if you don't, it's time to step up and ask for that. The other thing that I'm seeing with the Nine of Wands is qualification and worth. And so if there's a self-worth issue going on, just know that I see that you are worth a heck of a lot, and it's time for you to start earning that worth. Deep pass. I can tell how invested you are in making things happen. This is a month of second chances, and for some of you, it's a month of exits and restarts because we see a lot of shifting energy towards the top. Listen to what's being said. You may actually pick up on a tip, a job lead, or some sort of an idea from the group. Also, what we saw here was that there was a lot of good buzz and word of mouth happening for you. The World card showing movement of all sorts. Distribution, publication, for some of you moving, leaving, starting something brand new. When we looked at relationships, as we see in the near future in ego, there is something going on with a key relationship where the balance is off. This month, you're going to do your best to balance it out a little bit. Keep an eye on spending this month because it does look like the money cards are reversed. I think the main thing for you is to ask for more, and that's going to help. You actually deserve a little bit more than you have, and if somebody owes you money, this is a chance to really make sure that you get that. In the environment card, you don't have to do everything, even though you can, so delegate. You're going to need some time off, but unfortunately there's so much going on that you may not be able to take a full week. A few days would be great, however. The other thing that's going to happen during this is some spiritual growth and development, which we saw here in health. So I think that maybe if you wanted to do something like a mini retreat or a couple days off, like a yoga retreat, that could be really beneficial for you. We've talked at great length about the self-worth and money aspects of this. I also want to highlight again that there may be some health issues going on with your legs, your knees, the lower extremities. Make sure you are careful when you walk, and you also talk to a doctor if you need any help. When we looked at mind, body, spirit, there was a note that your intuition wants to sort of light up this month, so do take some time every day and meditate a little bit. During that meditation, you can start something like a vision board because this will lead you into the magician energy, which is seeing and believing and bringing something into fruition. As we look at love, you're doing a good job supporting others. Make sure that they're supporting you. Don't be afraid to ask for that. And in the Destiny card, there were some questions about should you stay or should you go? It looks like something that feels comfortable isn't what it is kind of looking like it should be. So whether this is your work environment or your home, it might be time for a change. Also, just remember you have the right, the ability, and the strength to say no this month. So this brings your monthly reading to a close, but hopefully you got everything that you needed this month to push you in the right direction. There was a lot of self-worth and strength messages that came through. We'll talk a little bit more about those in a second when I give you the closing word. First, I'd like to simply say that if you ever want to talk a little bit more about something that's going on in your life, whether it's how you can manage all of the things going on or if that move is worth taking, etc., feel free to reach out to me. If you click on the first card in the video or the first link below, that'll take you to my booking site where you can look at rates and availability. And if that makes sense, then I look forward to chatting with you. You can also just simply say thank you and help support future videos like this if you would like to. Simply click on the second card or the second link, and this will take you to a page on my site that talks about becoming a patron. There's a lot of ways to do that. You can do a one-time contribution. You can also join me here on the YouTube channel, which is brand new. That'll give you some cool perks that are unique to YouTube. Or you can do something like Patreon. It doesn't matter how frequently or how much you give, just know that when you do give a little bit extra, it allows me to continue to refresh my supplies, and most importantly, it allows me to carve out time on my calendar. This is an extension of my job. I see clients one-on-one, I write, and in order for me to do this, I rely on how much funding I can get from you guys. When you give me a little bit extra, I can put more time and do longer videos and higher quality videos. And I think if you can tell from this and all of the other ones that I've done today, I really care about putting out good quality. So just want to say thank you for everybody that's made today possible. And if you'd like to help with the next round of videos, then please click that link and know that I appreciate you. Finally, there is another way that you can support me that doesn't involve anything but making a few clicks. The first is to simply like and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already done so. And if you'd like to go a step further, click on the third card and the third link. This will take you to a page on my site where you can connect on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also get my newsletter. And then if you want to share with your network, that really makes a big impact on how I can reach new people. My goal each and every month, kind of like this card, is to try to spread out this message as far as I can and to help everyone kindle the light within them. And when you spread the message, you help me on that goal of raising awareness, having spiritual conversations, and really helping people become the best that they can be. So thank you for doing that. Your final word this month is that this is a month of changing, and your opportunity is to go higher and to go further than you have before. The main card that I'm seeing here in the crowning position is the World. That's expansion. That's really about going big. And it's kind of countered with a card that doesn't make sense. This is a limiting card, the Five of Pentacles. So I want you to look in the mirror this month and see your worth. And I want you to change it. You really need to see how powerful and how worthy you are of the opportunities that are going to be coming through. Because as you see with this, what you want wants you. But if you don't believe in yourself, then you won't be set up for that opportunity. I want to set you up for success by letting you know that you're worth what's coming your way. You're worth more than you think you are. And it's okay for you to walk away from something or to say no. All right? Thank you so much for spending time with me today. You have so many choices here on YouTube and in life. It honors me and it humbles me that you wanted to spend the last 35 minutes or so with me. So thank you so much for doing that. Continue to work on yourself, continue to share your light with the planet, and I'll see you really soon. Thanks so much.